We are the Ridens. I am Kelly Jo, and this is my husband, Sam, and we're going to share some of our story.
I think about our story. It is a story of God's radical and gracious forgiveness. We were married when we were young, met in Kelly Jo in her late teens and me in my early 20s. I brought an incredible amount of baggage into our marriage, was sexually broken, sexually addicted to pornography, had a brand new son that was not even 1 year old yet. And I think I was looking for just love and affirmation, affection to prove that I was of value, loved unconditionally, and looking at that through relationship. I was a brand new believer. I had an experience with Jesus when Hayden was born, and had fully confessed, repented, and believed in him. I thought that marriage was going to fix my brokenness, that my sexual addiction and pornography addiction would be fixed in marriage. And so I thought it was a great idea for Kelly Jo and I to jump in with both feet.
I, too, was a brand new believer. I was really looking for love and to be loved simply because I was loved. And I thought that marriage was a great idea. It was going to solidify that love, and it was going to make it permanent, and everything was going to be great because we were married.
His life became more challenging. I mean, trying to figure out how to be a father, trying to figure out how to be a husband. At the same time, the pressures increased. Life became harder, and then I went deeper into my addiction. I coped and dealt with this in isolation completely and fully. Had tons of experiences and times where I felt incredible shame and guilt, and would cry out to Jesus, even ask him for forgiveness. And then too, had no real model or idea, thought of what healthy relationship looked like. And we came from broken families and broken marriages with remarried parents on the verge of divorce again, and had no real concept of what healthy relationship looked like. When we moved to Madison, I started to feel this conviction in a whole new way. I jumped into a Bible study, it's brand new, with a group of my friends. And this is a couple of years into our marriage, and started to really get concerned and interested in Jesus in a different way, like relationally, trying to understand and know about him, what it may look like to live in relationship and obedience to him. And then I felt this conviction for my hidden sinfulness. And as I betrayed Kelly Jo and on the road would go to like bars and strip clubs for work and was looking at pornography, I felt this conviction to press it out into the light. And so I did. One night, I sat down and shared with Kelly Jo everything that I'd done. She was very hurt and angry, as she should have been. And I thought for sure that she was going to leave me, and it's what I deserved. But she looked at me, and she saw me fully and completely, and she loved me, and she stayed. It was a time I remember where Jesus really reached down inside of my soul and my heart and started to do a miraculous work.
I remember the night that Sam confessed. If you would have asked me what that confession would have looked like, there would have been a fight, a really aggressive fight, and then I would have left. But instead, I found myself stuck and rooted in just the same place. And that evening, and in the days that followed, they were excruciating and it was painful. But it was the first time I heard clearly the Lord say, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." And it was on repeat, over and over and over again in my mind and in my heart. And it was in that season, as tough as it was, that I realized the love that I was looking for and the love that needed to fill that void was Jesus's love. And that was a love that was the only one that wasn't gonna leave, wasn't gonna abandon me or hurt. And so, as hard as it was, that was a turning point for us in our marriage.
It definitely was. I mean, it was this time where I experienced being fully known and loved, and the radical grace of Jesus through our marriage and through relationship with Kelly Jo. It motivated me in a very different way too. I had a great desire for obedience, righteousness, service, and I think that it got distorted a little bit. It's like my lust for sex was one thing, and then as it moved into this desire and being compelled to serve Jesus, I jumped in with both feet. My intense, obsessive nature then jumped into religious work that way. And there were some incredible days and moments through those years where God did miraculous restorative work in our family, with our parents, with Daniel and Catherine Hayden's mom and other dad, and beautiful, beautiful moments. And at the same time too, I had this piece of me that then was lusting after power and control and money. And it looked very good. I got applauded for it and was the first one everybody called to be on this team or that team. But I had some broken motivations in there for sure, and I was doing some real damage to my family.
Yeah. It was a good season. Things were appearing good. We, at that time, had 2 young children under 2, and looking back, our lives were running parallel and sometimes overlapping. But it was hard, but it was so good at the same time. And when our youngest was about 1.5 years old, I went back to work. And again, to appear good, to appear like everything was put together, I began making decisions in our business, and they were not great decisions. They were really bad decisions. But I wanted everything to be okay. I wanted everything to be good. And one of those decisions and mistakes that I made, I spent 3 times the amount of money that our client was going to pay us on a project, and I hid that. I covered it up and I lied about it repeatedly, and all the while knowing that it was sinful and I was ashamed of it. But I also just wanted to keep everything good. And I knew when it came to light, I knew it would, but I knew when it came to light that Sam was going to leave me. And it just went down the rabbit hole of the worst of the worst. And so keeping that same sin hidden, I turned it inward, and as a penance or punishment for that sin, I ended up starving myself and kept that hidden almost at the cost of my own life.
We had some really good friends that they engaged me really aggressively during that season as I look back on it, and they told me things are not okay, even though I was sure that they were. And I remember sitting with Kelly Jo as she started to share what was going on and what she'd been hiding and not being honest about. And the first thoughts that I had were really a desire to love her, to offer her the same friendship and forgiveness and love and mercy that she had offered me. And I did. But I also realized in that season too that we're very different people. We're not built the same way, and where that was so freeing for me and allowed and set me on a path towards growth and sanctification and success, it really kind of trapped Kelly Jo. And I didn't know how to respond to that. I knew we needed some help. And so we reached out and got into therapy in that season. I started weekly counseling and therapy with what's turned into as a man I respected at the time that I served on a board with. And I respected his work, and he really kind of dug in. It's become a friend, a mentor, a father in so many ways to us. And we started trying to uncover some things that we just did not have awareness of.
So that was about 10 years ago. I think that we got into that work, and I'd love to tell you that everything is good. It's great, and we're on the high and high, and we are. There's been an incredible amount of highs and an incredible amount of restorative work that the Lord has done in these last 10 years. And and there's still brokenness. In the midst of the therapy and in the midst of the work, we experienced the loss of a child through miscarriage. I lost my father, and we had a season of foster care that ended in heartbreak. And all of those things carried enough with them. And for me, it also carried a significant season of depression and despair, and just a continued realization of our need for Jesus and the restorative work that he does, and to remember that we have tasted and seen the restoration that he brings. And so it's been an incredible season, hard and good, and still in progress.
Yeah, that's for sure. There's definitely these highs and lows that we experience in life. We just celebrated our 21st marriage anniversary, our 21st anniversary this summer. And we'll check in and talk about the year and talk about the next year. And something that strikes me in these past years, that I never realized that like love could deepen the way that it does. And it's you go through these highs and lows, right? And you stay together. And it gets deeper and richer. And I know that it's through marriage and relationship and in our community in which God has shown us the most radical grace and mercy, where He really sanctifies us and changes us to make us more like Jesus and less like our natural selves. I think the work that we did is we talk about in our closest, most intimate relationships, those families that we really walk through life with, that know us and that we know, that know our kids and that we know theirs. The purpose of community is kind of like we studied last summer. It is the desire to be with Jesus, to become like Him, and to do as He did, and partnering with Him in the restoration of this world. You know, Comer's work is so good in that space, and the way we do community and we do relationship is really in the simple terms and ways that you know He even suggests. It's we share a meal together, share life's highs and lows together. We confess in the most trusted, intimate relationships that we have, and we stay together. You know, we're committed to each other, and so I think it's in our community and in those the relationships where there's been as much grace and forgiveness offered probably as any that's walked alongside us and helped us. And as I imagine, with whatever years we have left, that will walk alongside us and help us not have a good, successful life on this earth, but apprentice more deeply under Jesus, disciple under Jesus, as our community does the same.
And today there's still lots of highs and lots of lows. And with our community, we've been able to walk through some incredible highs, just recently even.
Yeah. You know, our oldest son, we started at the beginning of our marriage, where he was not even one yet. I was married this summer, and when we went to the celebration, to the wedding in Tampa with the whole extended family, and Hannah, his bride's family too, has a lot of broken marriages there too. So you can just imagine this, all these people and all the chaos that was present at this wedding and in preparation for it. When we got to the rehearsal dinner and we sat down with Catherine and Daniel and Hayden and Hannah and their bridal party, something really beautiful took place and happened. And we stood up and we shared our stories. We shared the stories over the last 20 years of the just restorative work that King Jesus has done in our relationships and with our children, and then I watched. And we got to watch Hayden and Hannah and their community stand up and talk and share stories of their commitment to Jesus too, and how He's working in their life. And you start to actually get a picture and see of what partnership in the restoration of this world with King Jesus looks like as it starts to press itself across the generations. We come to and confront the reality that the creator of the world, the one who spoke the world into existence, he came down and he offered himself for us. He actually rescued us from behind enemy lines, and he saved us. He gave his life for us, and it's that fact then and that realization of that truth that compels us to give all of our lives to him, even in our stories, the most shameful parts of our stories that are hard to talk about, even though that they've been healed by scars over years, is still a sense of shame associated with those stories, and it's hard to press them out there. But they're not ours; they're his, and he can do with them what he wishes. Our lives are his, and hopefully, by his grace, we'll year by year, however many years we have left, he keeps sanctifying us and growing us to look more like him and less like our natural selves. And we'll press those truths of friendship and forgiveness and the gentleness and love, compassion, and grace of Jesus, share them with our children, and may they share them with their children and their children's children for God's glory. Marriage and relationship, I think, is something that's definitely broken and has been broken in me, but God is on a mission to restore in us too. So that's part of our story.
That's it.